What is up, everyone? I am Joe DeHoyos. I'm host of Beyond the Woodline. Real quick before we get started, for those of you who don't know, I am part of the JRG, which is the Jevning Research Group. It's headed up and founded by my good friend William Jevning. Uh, Great guy, man. This guy's had over 50 years of experience in the Bigfoot world. He was friends with Renee DeHenden and John Green. You know, these guys are probably two of the four pioneers of the Bigfoot research world. He met them when he was just a teenager, when he had after he had his first sighting. Good guy. You can go check us out. We're on Facebook. Jevning Research Group is what it's called. If you guys are interested in joining this group, and just ask for permission, we'll set you up. And you can share your evidence. You can share stories, whatever you want to do on that page. You can contact Will. Contact me at beyond.woodline@gmail.com if you have any encounters, any stories, any questions, really. Contact me for anything. I'm on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. I'm either on Joe DeHoyos, my own page, or Beyond the Woodline, which is a separate page, but I'm not hard to find, guys. So you have anything you want to add, tell me what kind of show you want to see, just hit me up and shoot me a message. This camera will act up now. But you guys have any questions, you guys have any suggestions for me, shoot me an email, contact me. I'm not afraid to take any kind of criticisms or any kind of direction. So just message me that way. So real quick, I have with me tonight a great guest. I know you guys don't tune in to hear me talk all night, and I already forgot how to say your name. Ullrson Demori, correct? Good.
There you go.
There you go, man. Thanks a lot, dude. Yeah, if you don't mind, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what got you started in this crazy world, this crazy genre that we find ourselves in?
Okay. Well, I grew up in it. So the ranch that I live on has been in the family since the mid 1800s. And growing up, I always had the paranormal experiences and everything else. It was pretty much what was normal to me. I was surprised whenever I go visit friends' houses and they didn't have ghosts.
Mhm.
It's like, wait a minute, something's not going to be messing with me in the middle of the night. I can actually sleep. Okay. But grew up out here, kind of tried to move away and went into the military, left for a little bit and came back. And then that was about the time that my first marriage was ending. So my father wanted me back on the farm and I came back. Um, After that, I'd pretty much forgotten about all the stuff that had happened because I'd had more stuff that had happened to me since then. So I'd forgotten about a lot of this weird stuff that would happen out here and kind of pushed it back out of my mind, thinking it was just, childhood imagination. Uh, then ended up having an encounter with an upright walking canine that just sparked everything back down the rabbit hole. Uh, I'd reached out to several different cryptid hunters and everything else, trying to find out what the hell I'd seen or anything else about it. Because to me, I saw a werewolf. I mean, that's it. That's what I knew of. I didn't know about Dogman. Uh, I saw a damn werewolf, and it definitely kind of cracked my mind a little bit as far as that goes. Um, but yeah, I've reached out to several podcasters, reached out to several things, and trying to figure out what was going on out here because it wasn't just a one time thing. It continued to happen, and it was continually ramping up. And I finally went to the Texas Dogman Convention up here in Fort Worth, and happened to go by and meet Tex Wesson. Showed him some pictures of things that I'd come across out here, and it sparked his interest. So he ended up coming out here and started researching out here. He got tired of calling the place the property, so he came up with the name Dogman Ranch, and the name stuck. because, well, it is North Texas version of Skinwalker Ranch. And the primary thing out here is Dogman. It's not the only thing that's out here, but it is the primary,
Mhm.
or at least what we were primarily researching and trying to find out about.
Okay. And that's funny because I was going to ask you where'd you get the name from.
Yeah,
So that was perfect. That's perfect, man.
yep.
And
Everybody
it,
always asks about it. So,
yeah, and it was Caddo Lake. What I was trying to find out, it was he was in that area.
yep,
It wasn't.
Caddo Lake.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah. That's the area I
that's
was
pretty
talking
good
about.
ways east of here. There are lots of reports of
Yeah.
Bigfoot in that area.
Okay.
Uh, I don't know that there's any Bigfoot on the property here.
Mhm.
I have not seen any signs of it or anything else. And for as much as we've been out there and we've run into all the other weird stuff, you would think that we'd run into something like that.
Yeah.
However, 30, 40 miles north of here, there have been several sightings.
Yeah.
So
So like,
they're not far, but I haven't seen any here specifically.
yeah. So when you said it was like a Skinwalker Ranch, right? Uh,
Yep.
type of area, and I know you saw Dogman, so that's weird enough as it is, or strange enough, and I don't mean that in a negative way. But
Yep.
when did you say to yourself that this property was different from any other property? You know what I'm saying?
Once Tex and them started coming out here and I started opening up more about the weird stuff that had happened whenever I was younger, along with more of the stuff that we were uncovering while we were doing our research. So, one of their first camping trips out here, we actually got a portal on camera. Um, Tex possibly caught one of the upright canines on camera while he was out. And, we would, they were introduced to the ranch very quickly. Um, Within hours, weird stuff started happening to them around camp. They would get a pinging noise. So, to some of them, it sounded like glass bottles clinking together. To others, it sounded like metal pipes clinking together. And they're in the middle of the woods where there's nothing there. So, it almost like the wind chime noise.
Mhm.
Um, and they would hear it and it would be moving around them around camp. What my
Okay.
grandmother was called was the fairy bells.
Okay. Yeah.
So usually, whenever she told me that it was the fairy bells, that don't trust anything.
Okay. Yeah. I got so many questions for you, but real quick, I want to go back to your encounter with this upright canine.
Yeah.
What was going on that day or that night, and how did that all
So
transpire?
I was getting ready to go to work, and at the time I was working as armed security, and the dogs were going off and acting weird. So they were acting like there was something outside that they were scared of. I go out the other door after I bring them inside because I'd let them out for a potty break. I go back outside and I start shining the flashlight around, and I happen to see eyeshine. And the eyeshine's not where any of our livestock should be because all of our cows were locked over in a different field, and it was not in one of the pens where the horses were. Okay, maybe it's a coyote, maybe a mountain lion, something like that. All right. I start walking towards it. I get closer to it. I realize that it's a very large canine. Well, unfortunately, this very large canine is crouched down in the tall grass and it is looking, or it was paying attention to the pen that our mule was in. And out here, this is the country. It's going to make people mad. But if we see something that's a predator, we're going to shoot it. I mean, there is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If it's going after our livestock or it even looks like it will, it's not going to live. So I shot it. I hit it broadside. And I was using my service pistol, 40 caliber. You could see the impact on it because it actually shifted to the side. Then the thing stood up on all fours, then turned towards me, and then stood up on its hind legs. At this point, I'm thinking words that I can't say on here. Yeah. Kind of one of those, what the heck did I just run into? And I did the only thing else I could do. I reverted back to my training, and which was I took a better stance. I fired 3 more shots. I did a failure drill. So 2 to the chest, 1 to the head. On the 3rd shot to the head, it just shook its head, turned, and walked away. Didn't run. It just turned and walked away. Against my better judgment, I went down there to where it was. I looked and just trying to figure out if the thing even bled or if I even hit it. And sure enough, yes, there was some blood. I did not have the sound mind to try to collect that blood or to try to go back and get it afterwards. Because, for one, I needed to go change my underwear. I mean, let's be honest, it scared the living hell out of me, but I still fought through it. And I was shaky the whole night. That's whenever I started trying to figure out what the hell I saw. At first, I thought, werewolf, skinwalker, something along those lines. And got onto a couple of Facebook groups and everything else and described what I saw. That's whenever they told me Dogman. And they told me to start reaching out to some of these podcasters. And so that's what I did. Things would escalate to the point where I finally figured out that there was more than one. They set several traps, and each of the traps, it was kind of one of those that I figured it out before it worked. So one of them, they dragged barbed wire across the road where it was coiled up, and it would get tangled up in an axle as we were going to leave. And I happened to see it beforehand. So I got out of the truck with pistol already drawn. My wife had her pistol on her. And I got out there, and you could definitely feel like you were being watched, like you were the prey. So I removed the barbed wire from there, hung it back up on the fence where it was, and we drove on, not before my wife took a picture. In the picture, you could see behind some of the oil field equipment that there was a K9 silhouette behind there watching us. And the oil field equipment is 3-4 foot off the ground, and this thing was easily another 2 foot above it. So that'll give you an idea on the size of it. The other time I was heading out in the morning to go to a different shift because, like I said, I was armed security, but I was a flex officer. So I did several different shifts. I was heading out for an early morning shift, and so the first one I saw was black. On the driveway as I was leaving, a grayish silver white colored one walks out on it, and this one is big, like a lot bigger than the first one was. And it just walks out and stands right in the middle of the road blocking me. Of course, my first thought is okay, it just walked out stopping me to where I'm in between a bunch of trees, so I'm boxed in. I can't get turned around. I can back up, but I can't get turned around. To me, that's a method that was used overseas. It's an ambush. So that's what I started doing. I started looking left and right, trying to figure out where it was going to come from. And that's whenever I spotted the movement to my left, started peeking out from around a tree and started walking towards me. So I'd already had my pistol drawn, and I turned on the weapon's laser light on it to where the laser was pointed right at its face. Uh, that's whenever I figured out that was the one I'd shot. It had a nasty little scar right along its snout, so it probably was not very happy with me. Um, but it just kind of snorted, turned around, and walked off. And what threw me off was the one that was in front of me. It looked like it was laughing. So it's like, okay, is he laughing because it didn't work or what? You know. After that, they really quit trying to any traps. That was the last time they tried to do any trap. But I figured out that those two were probably a mating pair. There were some that acted a lot younger and were smaller that were different colors. One of them is a mostly black with gray markings on its face and chest. That's the one that we see the most of. And it acts like a curious dog. I mean, that is it. It's always watching the house. It's always watching us see what we're doing. We're its entertainment, plain and simple. And this thing, it has a affinity for classic rock. Um, so anytime we're outside and we're playing music, I can guarantee you that it's going to end up being in the tree line and watching us. The one thing that I noticed is that those did not have a smell other than that of a wild dog. So it just smelled dusty, a little bit of musk to it, but not horrible, not rank like most everybody always says. That they, it smelled like an old farm dog, basically. Um, One you wouldn't be afraid to go and pet. Then we started noticing one that smelled. The one that smelled was a reddish color. This one was a lot more aggressive. The first one on it roughly the same size as the black one, right around 6.5, 7 foot. And it smelled like stale dog urine and rotten flesh. And you could smell it 100 yards off. It was rank. Buzzards would continuously follow it. Uh, Probably drawn to it by the smell, most likely. But we noticed that it stayed on the other side of the property as opposed to the pack. And all of this has taken place over several months, even up actually about 2 years. What we ended up having was a situation that escalated a little bit. Um, we had to have we had a vet visit for the horses, so the wife went and got the horses during the day. They were down in the field, and she walked by an area and she smelled this thing. The horses didn't like that area, nothing else. They were spooky about it. So we got them up to the house, got them put up in the pen, and she told me about it whenever I got home. So we went for a walk, went down there to go check it out. And sure enough, this thing popped its head up. And we're in daylight, and it popped its head up in the thicket. It ducked back down too quick for me to be able to get a bead on it. But it was very much one of those like, okay, yeah, it's here. Let's get back to the house. It's going to stay down there. It's not going to come bother us, whatever. That night, the side of the house was getting hit. It sounded like a 300-pound raccoon ran across the roof, all kinds of stuff. All the things that normal people would try to hide inside the house from, not go outside and try to confront it. I'm not exactly that bright, apparently, but went out there, couldn't find anything, couldn't see anything. Could smell it, couldn't see it. Okay, whatever. The next day, we continue on, and we had a garden out there, and we turned the water sprinkler on. Well, we forgot to turn it off. So I had to go out there after dark and go turn it off. And sure enough, I get out there, I turn that off, I'm walking back, and I smell it. So I start looking around for it with flashlight, and there it is, less than 100 yards away from me, other side of the fence. Um, it decides to stand up and charge me. And
Wow. Yeah.
yeah, so you have this massive thing that looks like a werewolf charging straight at you. The biggest difference on this one was the color. It was a reddish brown color, and it I don't remember it having a tail. Honestly, I don't remember this one having a tail. The pack does, but this thing charged, and I took several steps towards it, and then dropped to a knee in a shooter stance, and that's whenever I got my target because I had figured out that I had a theory that these things, their bone density is made to where it will protect their vitals. So their chest is really thick bones, their skulls are going to be really thick bone. So you're going to have a really difficult time getting anything to penetrate those, almost like a built in body armor.
Right.
Well, what they taught us whenever you're against an adversary with body armor is go for soft tissue. So you go for inner thigh, you go for neck, you go for something that's going to be unprotected. And like I said, whenever I dropped on my knee, it stopped. I could see very clearly that it was a male. Me being the a-hole that I am, that gave me a target. And it reacted just how you would think it would. It hit the ground and it was thrashing and screaming and everything else. I fired several other rounds aiming at abdomen and neck, and it finally got its feet underneath it and took off away from me, going the opposite direction. So that was kind of the last I'd seen it. Um, After that, we didn't have really any violent interactions at all, even with the others. Um, they would still show up and show around, but they kept a healthy distance. And it would be, weeks or months before I'd see them or have sightings of them. So that's whenever Tex and them finally got involved. Is It was a bit after that interaction. So they came out, did their preliminary check, found a bunch of prints that I hadn't even pointed out or showed them, found fresh prints, and I showed them the claw marks and the markers on the trees, all of the stuff that I've been sending them pictures of previously. And we had we had a paranormal experience while they were out here doing their preliminary check because we went to an old abandoned house that I'd seen these things in, that had been halfway torn down. And the excuse that the construction workers had used for not wanting to come back and finish the job was the honeybees in the wall, which, okay, sure, I can see that. But most of the time you just, you know, get a beekeeper to come out and get them and then finish the job. Well, they didn't. Okay. We go down there. It's Tex, me, and his tracker. We haven't gone into the house or anything yet. We've started walking around the outside of it. His tracker and I go to the left side, and we spot where the honeybees are. Tex had wandered off around the right side of the house and towards the back of it. And we're sitting here and we're looking down cow trails. We're looking for tracks because, as soon as we get down there, I walk through the gateway and I look down and here's a canine track this big around. So it was kind of one of those, like, well, yeah, it's been down here. We hear a screen door open and boots on hardwood floor coming from inside the house. So we holler out, "Hey, Tex, watch out. There's a nest of bees over here." At that time, he sticks his head out from the other side of the house. He goes, "What are y'all talking about?" I'm like, "Oh, crap. Now I have to go in there and check it." Yeah. So we go inside there and nothing. Can't find anything. This is a house that I've gone back to several times. I've gone back with Spirit Box. I've gone back with the video recorders and stuff like that, and have caught shadows moving. The Spirit Boxes we were getting, and what you could assume would be answers from it, but you take it all with a grain of salt. Whenever the person that was with me asked, "What is your name?" we get back through the Spirit Box, "What's it to you?" So of course, we hear that, we start laughing. It's like, all right, this thing's got attitude. And but yeah, the 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 experiences out here would get crazy. So that was when Tex first came out. He didn't stay the night or camp out or anything else. First time they camped out. Tex was staying up at camp because he's a night owl. And he catches something that is roughly 6 foot tall, just run right past camp. And he's like, it happened too fast for him to even really figure out what the heck was going on. But he did see something run by camp. Pops was there with us, and Pops was saying he could see him over on the ridge and everything else. I knew the pack was probably watching us just because that's what they do. They haven't been aggressive towards me since our first encounters. And again, I think we kind of came to an understanding of, as long as they don't charge me and I know they're not after my livestock, I'm not going after them. I don't see any reason to start a war with them. The first bit was a misunderstanding. I thought he was going after my livestock, plain and simple. We didn't do much that first night. The second night, we had Monica and a few of the others out there. And that's whenever we decided to go down. We were going to do a little bit of an investigation by one of the old homesteads that was down there. The house has been gone since the 30s. It was probably built late 1800s, and it's been gone since the 30s. I've since figured out that the wood that was used for that house is the reason why there's not any wood piles or scrap piles or anything like that down there is because my grandparents used it to build their house, which is haunted horribly. And the story that I was told was that the family that lived there passed away most likely from the Spanish influenza, right there around the turn of the century. It was smallpox or that. It was some type of sickness, and they had a graveyard that was there underneath an old oak tree. Well, since then the natural gas field's been in there. And the natural gas field in the 80s did not care nothing about historical artifacts or anything else. And so they bulldozed over the graveyard to put a well in, of course, because they're greedy. But the bulk of the group went there, and we had the EMF readers with us. And we're sitting here, and there's no electricity right there. Okay, yeah, the well pad is 150 yards away from us, from where we're at. There's no electricity where we're at. These EMF speed readers were spiking all the way to the red. They were maxing out. And they would max out whenever you'd ask questions or anything along those lines. Um, at the same time, Tex decided to go for a solo walk down the road, which he recorded, and that's the one that we're pretty sure that he caught one of the upright canids on camera on it. But we're around this old house foundation, and my wife hollers at me, says, "Come look at this." And so she shows me through her phone that between these two trees, it's glowing. So you look at it with bare eyes, and yeah, it's a little brighter between the two trees. And it's actually a rectangle shape. It's really weird. Like, okay. And the light's swirling inside of it. All right, that's really weird. And, you try to record it as a video, it doesn't really get anything. So she started snapping pictures with the newer iPhones with that night vision on there. It shows up. It looks like you're looking at it in daylight. And you can see from frame to frame that the light inside of it is changing. And we're like, okay, this looks like a portal, you know. There's nothing behind it that can illuminate it. It there's no reason, no logical reason for it to be doing what it's doing. So what do? We walk towards it. Pops was adamant not to get any closer at all. He really did not want us getting very close to it at all. And the closer I got, the more my hair on the back of my neck would stand up and more goosebumps I would get. I mean, it was, if you've ever played with a Tesla coil, it was like you were walking towards one of those the size of a 3-story building. The portal was only the size of a door. Like, it looked like it was 6-7 foot tall. That's it. And maybe 2.5, 3 foot wide.
Okay.
But it felt like you were walking up to a Tesla coil that was set high enough. If you touched it, you weren't going to walk away. So we decided to back off and kind of wander on around. That was the first round of them coming out. The second round, so Tex was coming out, his tracker was coming out, Pops again, and this time Tex was bringing a new person out. His nephew had been wanting to go to the field with him. Had never been camping, had never been investigating. I'm like, you're seriously bringing somebody that green out here? I mean, I grew up with this stuff and it nearly broke me.
Right.
And he's like, well, trial by fire. I'm like, okay. Yeah. And of course, his nephew's a skeptic, big time. And we asking if it'd be ball lightning. No, it wasn't ball lightning. But ball lightning isn't a perfect rectangle. Last time I checked. But they got out here during the day. We did a little bit of walk around. We walked over to the part of the woods that's over there close to that house and everything. And my wife and I had been all through there. Those woods over there, they're not very thick. So one section of them is maybe 150 foot across, and like between the road and a open field on the other side. It's maybe only 150 foot through that as far as its depth goes. And the length is maybe 500 yards. So it's not really a big area. But the problem is, as soon as you get off that road and you get 20, 30 foot in there, you look back, it looks like the road is almost 100 yards from you now. Your depth perception just goes haywire in there. Compasses start spinning in there, and your sense of time disappears. Like, we thought we were in there for 20 minutes whenever we were scoping it out, and I was trying to locate the grave sites. And come to find out, we were in there for 2.5 hours. And so it's like, okay, that's a little weird. There's no way we were walking around for 2.5 hours. We should have only been in there for 20, 30 minutes. And so I was taking the tracker back over there to check that out. And we go over there, and one of the areas where we had found a fence post, and I was going to show him where this old fence post was, and then where an old tree was cut down with what you could tell was not a chainsaw. It was done by an old handsaw. And there's 2 bottles of beer sitting there, one full, one empty. And I'm sitting here looking at them, I'm like, those were not sitting on that stump the last time I was in here. I'm sitting here looking at these things. I'm like, I recognize those bottles. I recognize, they're an old bottle. One of them still has the beer in it. There's no label on there, and I'm looking. It's a very distinct bottle. I'm like, I know this bottle from somewhere. I know it. We take them back to what we shouldn't have done. We accepted the gift, apparently. So we took the bottles back to the camp. And of course, Tex looks at it. He goes, "Where the hell did you find the old Bud Ice bottles at?" I'm like, that's it. High school days. Okay. The early Bud Ice bottles from the early 2000s. And you're like, what in the hell were these things doing down there? How could something like that survive out there with cattle and everything else for that long without getting busted and broken? And but as we were walking back from finding those towards the campsite, we hear the crows going off, which crows are the snitches of the force. They're going to tell you if something's there. They're going off. And then it sounds like the biggest crow I've ever heard. You could tell it was not a crow, but it was trying to mimic a crow. It sounded awful. As the tracker describes it, it sounded like a very white crow. And then I spotted something through, I could see kind of a silhouette through the woods going that direction, which, again, they're not real thick, maybe 100 yards thick, until there's an opening. I could see something playing peekaboo around a tree over there. Okay. Let's go towards it. Well, Tex is back at camp. It's me, the tracker, and Tex's nephew. Here's me and the tracker going towards whatever this creepy thing is that's playing peekaboo around a tree. Tex's nephew is going, "Isn't this the part where everybody dies in the horror movie? You'll be fine."
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So we're walking towards it and trying to figure it out, and we get halfway through there, and this is still springtime, so 80-ish degree weather is Memorial Day weekend. And we were hitting pockets of cold air the whole time we were walking through there. And it was really weird because we'd hit those pockets, and it was cold enough it'd give you goosebumps.
Hey, hold up real quick.
We got about halfway
because you mentioned that, and I got to ask you about the cold air thing. But real quick, Lupe wants to know what area you live at, and you can be as vague as you want.
North Texas.
So you mentioned that, right? We went on a paranormal investigation outside of Houston. Like I don't remember, it was on. It was out towards Katy. I don't remember we passed it or we it was near it. This is like 4 or 5 years ago, so I don't remember. But it was an area where it was a lot of activity, paranormal activity took place, and we came upon an area and it felt like a tube of air. It was the weirdest thing. Like in the middle of the damn road, it felt you could like literally like put your hand there, and it was like I don't know,
Yep.
an area of air, and I won't say it was cool, but it felt like it was blowing, right? But you would expect it to keep blowing,
Hmm.
but once you got so far, you couldn't feel it anymore. But you moved in and you could feel it, and you could feel the
Yep.
breeze. It was the weirdest thing. But yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, man.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, like I said, you just hit these pockets of cold air, and it's like, okay, well, now it's time to turn back. So we turn back and we start walking back, and I'm sitting here looking to the side, and I'm like, I hope his nephew doesn't look to the side, because as we're walking out of the woods, here's just like fog figures that are following us. I'm like, hmm, okay. Tracker sees it. I see it. Luckily, the nephew did not see it. So the tracker, he mentioned to me, he goes, yeah, I don't think we were alone in there. I'm like, no, no, we weren't. No way. And I said, I think I just got closer to where that gravesite is. And sure enough, went back later and started trying to really dig and everything else. And I did find some of the wrought iron that was described to me. So that is where it was, or at least really close to it,
Okay.
right on the edge of a well pad. So that explains why we can't find it, because they bulldozed it.
Hmm.
And we get back. Well, that night, Tex and I go for a little drive, and we got the nephew with us, and he plays that howl that he's got. And so he plays that, and we got a response. So he wanted to get out of the truck and do a little bit of a solo. Of course, me being me, I'm like, all right, did you bring your pistol? No, it's back at camp. Okay, here, take mine. At least have something with you for wild pigs or whatever. And he starts walking down the hill, and we drive off and go sit in a well pad. So while the nephew and I are sitting at the well pad, he and I are sitting here chatting and everything, and I look up on the hill and I can see a silhouette. I'm like, well, that could be a cow. And then it sits down. That's not a cow. Yeah. Sitting here watching, like, oh, okay. And the nephew looks out there. He goes, is that coyote up on that hill? Yeah, sure. We'll go with that. We'll go with that's a coyote. He goes, that's a big coyote.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's a big coyote, all right. Whenever my first thought is that a cow?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Coyote and a cow, pretty similar in size, I guess. Yeah.
city boy. Yeah, so I'm sitting here watching this thing, and then it starts walking towards where Tex is at, and I'm like, gosh, all right, well, we've given them 15 minutes. That's enough. So I crank the truck back up, and we start moving back towards them. And as we're pulling up, I see Tex's headlamp bopping up that damn hill faster than I ever thought I'd see Tex move. And if you know Tex he ain't gonna move fast for nothing.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm like, why is he moving up the hill that fast? He usually just kind of meanders. He don't try to walk at a brisk pace for anything. And he gets back up there and gets in the truck. And he goes, well, that got my heart rate up. Okay, now what happened? So he tells us, and he said he got down in there and he started hearing this like chomping, like the teeth chattering together, and he would hear it in two different locations. And he kept on hearing something moving around in the brush that would stay just outside of his light. So it was kind of getting to him a little bit on that. And I've heard the same sound. Um, I've heard it out in the woods, but I've also heard it like, hell, I've heard it at Bass Pro, or there's even a TikTok video of it. If you've ever seen the Belgian Malinois when they get excited and they start chomping their teeth, and that's exactly what it sounded like, just on a larger scale. And so that was his experience for that night. He was hearing that. He gets back up the truck. We head on back in. We don't really do much more that night. The rest of the group's going to be out the next night. The next night, we go to an old pole barn. This pole barn gives me the creeps, period. I don't like being down around it by myself during the day. Like, it is just one of those things that looks straight out of a horror movie. And we get down there. My wife's with me. And Tex is leading the pack as far as leading up to it to go check it out, because he's wanting to go do a little bit of investigation around it and go down some of the trails. He sees something go up the side of it and over the roof. Okay. And he tells me, he goes, it looked like a person just climbed the side and went over the roof. Okay. There's no side to climb. It's field fencing on the of it. It's wire. And it's a tin roof, so we should have heard it. Okay. Well, there's some old concrete steps there, and they're just 3 steps high, probably from one of the job shacks or something like that whenever they were out there working on the wells, because this is right off of a well pad. Yeah, most of the roads out here lead to well pads, so that's pretty much our starting points. We drive to a well pad, we get out, and we start hiking into the woods. And he decides he's going to climb up on these steps so that he can get a better look. So he does that. While he's up there and looking around, something draws my attention across the pond that's right next to it. And I look over there. Next thing I hear is, oh, and then him hit the ground. And I turned around just in time to see him hit the ground. At the same time, I saw something, couldn't make it out, but I saw something real low just scurrying off through the brush and taking off. And I didn't put 2 and 2 together. I thought maybe he scared something that was in the brush. Except for the fact that, at first we thought that he had gotten tangled up in briars, because there were briars around it, and had fallen. The problem is, if he had fallen, he would have fallen just, at the foot of the steps. He landed 5 foot away from those steps. He would have had to have jumped to be able to make it that far. And it was definitely not him falling. My wife actually saw a gray hand reach up and grab him by the ankle and just do that. So that was a little bit of a PTSD trigger for me from my younger days. So that was whenever I asked him to describe exactly what he had seen to a T, and it definitely reminded me of something that tormented me whenever I was younger. He said all the color flushed out of my face, and I went on red alert at that time, which I did, because I know how dangerous these things can be. They are extremely fast, they're extremely violent, and they are very hard to drop. That was his encounter with a pale crawler, or is what I knew of them whenever I first ran into it and tried to research it when I was younger, was ghouls. Because we didn't have internet back then, at least not like we do now.
Right. Yeah.
Had to go look at the books and everything. So the only thing I could find was in the vampire books, and it was describing the ghouls.
Hey, and real quick, Lupe had a question. He says, "Is there Native American burial grounds
Yes,
there?" Okay. Oh, okay.
yeah, there is a lot. This was also a very well known area for the Comanches to ambush people on the Chisholm Trail.
Okay.
So, been a lot of death and violence on this land. A lot. But yeah, that was Texas' first encounter with a pale crawler. Or is I guess the creepypasta rake.
Right. And that's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah,
Is that what some people refer to as the rake, right?
yeah, I
And
believe
you're
so.
so like down here in Texas, that's only like maybe the second or the third encounter I've heard of them down here.
Well,
That,
I'd had an encounter with one whenever I was 13 years old.
well, we're kind of running short on time. I'm going to have you back, whether you like it or not. I'm having you back.
Definitely.
Okay. But I do want to give you a chance to talk about yourself and your book and,
Yeah.
uh, you know,
So
any kind of where
if
people
you
can
want,
contact you. Yeah.
yeah. So if they want to read about it, this is my book. Welcome to Weird Shit, Texas. This is written in a memoir style, and it starts out from the younger days all the way up to um, towards the end of last year.
Okay.
So we, no, I kind of had it about. It's been out since January, well, February, and you can find it on Amazon. It is free on Kindle Unlimited, or you can purchase the paperback. But again, it is Welcome to Weird Shit, Texas. Um, then you can find me on TikTok, Ullrson Demori, or you can look up Dogman Ranch Outfitter. I am also on Facebook, Ullrson Demori, and then YouTube, Ullrson Demori. But I post up most of my videos. I don't catch something on every video, but I will still post the video. Um, if I did see something during the video, then I will mention it as far as that goes. But usually, I'm not going to catch something on there every time I go out. That's not going to happen. However, I have posted videos up that I didn't think caught anything at all. And I said it seemed like it was an uneventful thing, and had people point stuff out. So it's kind of one of those things. Um, I don't want to edit and fake people out on any of it. It's just I'm going to post whatever I find, whatever I get. But on top of that, to kind of support the research and everything out here, that is what all the profits from the book go to. So that buys me the new toys and everything else to go research and hunt with. I also have an Etsy store, which is Dogman Ranch Outfitter. It has shirts, stickers, all kinds of stuff. In fact, this is one of the shirts, and the design for it was inspired by Texas crawler experience, except that all of my designs I try to throw a little bit of a humor twist to them, because the the cryptid merch out there tends to all be the horror and cliche. Most everything out here we deal with a dark sense of humor, because otherwise we'd be completely insane.
Dude, that's exactly how I like to approach everything. I mean, you got to laugh and have fun. You do.
Oh yeah, yeah. Whenever you have a werewolf howling at AC/DC Back in Black, you can't help but laugh.
Right. Yeah. And also, one thing I wanted to ask you too is, you know, there are probably a lot more people in your situation than what we know. And I've managed to talk
Mhm.
to a few people here, and one guy actually around the Jacksonville, Texas area. He's got some weird stuff happening on his property. He doesn't want to come out and be vocal about it, but he was like so happy that he found someone to talk about that kind of stuff
Oh
with.
yeah.
Not just like just to talk about it, but like to get it off his chest. What advice would you have for people who are probably holding this back?
Talking about it was probably the best therapy that I had because I was trying to hold it and not talk about it, not do anything. Writing the book helped tremendously. Writing it all down as far as the experiences and everything. Um, it was kind of one of those things that I had a lot of uh, repressed memories because of some of the stuff that happened to me
Mhm.
uh, due to the paranormal and everything else. It essentially caused PTSD before I even went into the military. But it also prepared me to do a lot of the stuff that I did in the military
Right.
and after the military. But it was kind of one of those things of finding people to talk about or to talk to and just go through the stories with helped tremendously. You're going to find some out there that are just looking to use you to get the subscribers, to get the views, to get
Right.
their money. Be careful on some of those. However, there's a lot of good ones out there that just want to share this with the community and they don't try to push a agenda with it. And those are the good ones to go talk to.
Yeah. Always research the researcher, right?
Yeah, yeah. I definitely learned that. We had a Bigfoot researcher that came out here that I don't think he's doing research anymore.
Well, that's good. That's good. But
So he definitely left in a hurry.
that's good. We'll have to hear that story off air then. But yeah, everyone else, like I said in the beginning of the show, man, you guys have any ideas or suggestions that you want me to cover? Any topics you want me to cover, man, shoot me an email, beyond.woodline@gmail.com. If you know someone or if you're someone who has had an encounter, contact me. I'd love to have you on the show, but I'd just love to hear your story, really. If you need someone to talk to, man, reach out and talk to me. I'll be happy to hear your story. I promise you, I won't think you're too crazy. You can't be any more crazier than me. So give me a shout. I'd be happy to hear from you. And tune in next Sunday. I don't remember who I have on. You guys know I never know who I have on, but contact me. Tune in next Sunday. I'll have a great show. I'm definitely having this guy on the show again. I've got a ton of questions I couldn't even get to. He had so many great stories, so many great experiences and encounters. Um, I'm having him on again, whether he likes it or not. So I even have to go and kidnap him. But yeah, I'm gonna have him on again. Maybe I don't know. Maybe Tex will do a show with us. I don't know. We'll have to ask him. Maybe we'll
We
say
can
pretty.
definitely get Tex on a show.
Okay, yeah, we'll have to say pretty please. But everyone else, thanks a lot for tuning in. I do appreciate it. Somebody had a question here. One last thing. Okay, Miss Sandra. Miss Sandra's been with me forever. Good night, Miss Sandra. God bless you too. And don't go anywhere. I want to talk to you real quick.
Yep.
All right, everyone. You guys have a good night. Hey, thank you for your service too. I meant to tell you that too. Thank you for your service. We do appreciate it.
Thank you.